Let's bring you back home now. Day one of the Nkabinde inquiry adjourning today after almost 3 hours of engagements behind closed doors. The commission is expected to start with Advocate Tembeka Ngcukaitobi's opening address on Tuesday. NPA head, Advocate Shamila Batohi, is also expected to give testimony before that inquiry. All right, let's get some perspective now on some of what is planned around this inquiry, which essentially kicked off the public hearings part of it. We're told that this actually started as far back as September. So let's begin with the charges that Advocate Andrew Chauke faces. What are some of them?
Well, Xoli, first of all, there are two cases that they're looking at in this entire commission. You've got two cases. One is the Booysens case, Johan Booysens. You'll remember the Cato Manor case in KZN. And then you've got the one of Richard Mdluli. Now, in these cases, as they look at it, they're looking at one thing. Did he act accordingly? Was he doing things according to the policy that guides prosecutors and guides basically anyone in his standard to work in that manner? Now, they are scrutinizing some of the work that he has done. So first of all, if you look at the Booysens case, they look at whether or not he was acting accordingly when he decided that there was going to be a racketeering charge that was put forward. And they're questioning the evidence part of it because they're saying there was no evidence. They're also looking at the appeal that was made. But before that, they also speak about the affidavit, which he assisted the then acting NDDP to basically go forward and question when Johan Booysens said, we don't have this, we have not done this. And he basically said there's an affidavit and pushed forward to assist the acting NDDP at the time. Then, when it was found that there was still no evidence, there was still a question and an appeal to Govan, who was basically the magistrate at the time, in the judgment, who basically said there was no legal standing. Yeah. That's the first part.
All right. So let's then try and move along, because today, as we have said in the introduction, the inquiry basically working behind closed doors for about 3 hours. Just explain to us why that was.
So there's an important part of the inquiry, and that important part is that you've got a person who has lodged a complaint, and that's Advocate Batohi, who has lodged a complaint. And the question really, just before we started, was how it was going to be handled. She is the complainant and she's the first witness that they're going to bring forward. And it seems there was an ask from her that she actually wants to do a testimony first, and then she would like them to finish everything in one day, which was not necessarily possible. And this is where we saw Nkabinde coming in and saying that it will be done the way it's supposed to be done, and it won't be done in favor of one or the other. Yeah. And now the issue was, of course, the cross-examination of what she had written. Remember, she's the one that had written the letter to the president to say there were worrisome things that were coming out about the DDP. And at this case, then, she must now speak about those things, and she's saying that she wants to be asked in one go so that she can move right along. So they had those conversations behind closed doors in terms of basically the housekeeping. How do we go forward going now? Right. But also, part of what they are looking at is also the Mdluli case. And in the Mdluli case, what we saw with the leading evidence today is that they basically said that there was charges that were failed by the DDP to be put forward. They're saying, in fact, there was even at some point an order that looked at the fact that there was probable cause, and that all of it was basically ignored.
Advocate Ngcukaitobi, what will his role be for those who are not following the inquiry?
Well, so he's going to do his opening remarks tomorrow. He is, of course, coming in on the side of Chauke, and so we're expecting to hear his side of the story. And you'll remember that interview that he did with Newzroom Afrika, where he really basically said most of what is said is not true, so he gets to say his side of the story.